What is happening, everyone? Welcome to It's an Afternoon Live. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on, and helping me go through it is the wonderful Turkish. There's nobody better to discuss the issues of the day, and there is a lot going on. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, there are some issues today, right?
It's all happening. It is all happening. I mean, the first place to start is, coming into this season, with regard to Arsenal, were you happy with the way that it looked before a ball was kicked?
No.
Not satisfied?
Nowhere near happy.
No.
And people might call that greed and, negativity. And I just looked at the business and looked at the first team improvements, and we're still lacking, in my opinion, a couple of profiles. Funnily enough, one's on the move today.
I mean, the big news is that Eberechi Eze, it's looking like, it feels like everything is agreed that he's going to be going to Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
That means, obviously, that he is not going to Arsenal. When you think about what Arsenal need, when you think about the issues in Arsenal's squad, when you think about the levelling up and the ability of Eberechi Eze, it feels like a massive missed opportunity, doesn't it?
When you think about his history, having been let go on the club when he was a young boy, and him having spoken about the effect on him and turning a corner and building his legacy over QPR and Palace, and then finally getting over the line and winning stuff with something with them. Not just something, they've won a couple of things with the Community Shield now. It just, everything made sense about Eze to Arsenal, right? Now, if you ask me a preference, I'd still lean towards a Rodrigo, but I mean, that's all, dreams rather than the reality. There's nothing linking us strongly to a Rodrigo. So Eze's been available. Eze, for the price, I think it's good value for money. I think the age, the attributes, the strengths, what we're lacking, what we need, what he brings, everything married up perfectly. But here he is going to the other side.
But say this happens then. Say before Eze had moved, if I offered you Eberechi Eze to Arsenal or Rodrigo from Real Madrid to Arsenal, but you can only choose one. I understand that there could be a world where both would elevate Arsenal to beyond recognition, but let's say that you could only have Eze or Rodrigo. Who would you choose?
I'd still lean Rodrigo. Yeah, I'd go Rodrigo.
Rodrigo? Yeah. Okay, so there is a world here where if Arsenal get active in the final few days of the transfer window, if they make the manoeuvre of signing a former Galactico, a European Cup winner, suddenly it's all right?
Not all right, because really we should be sitting here from a position of Arsenal have signed Zubimendi, Arsenal have signed Gyökeres, and Arsenal have signed Eze, and are looking to sign a Rodrigo in the last 2 weeks. It all circles back to that Madueke move, and it tying our hands behind our back in terms of further business. If we were sitting here with Zubi, Gyökeres and Eze and open to a left wing in the next 2 weeks, perfect. In my opinion, we are close to having a 10 out of 10 window. But you transfer Madueke for Eze and the lack of links to a Rodrigo or a Leao, there's a couple left wingers out there, then this is much closer to a 5 out of 10 window than it is a 10 out of 10 window.
Doesn't make sense, does it? Like, when you think about the money that Madueke went for, it's a lot of money.
52 million.
Chelsea did very well on that. It's a very expensive signing.
You nearly doubled your money on him, and he didn't live up to the 28 million you paid for him.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good way of putting it. Actually, I think that's bang on. But you look at the amount of money that it looks like Tottenham are going to spend on Eze, and you'd only have had to topped up the 52 million by what, 10, 12
max.
And suddenly he's an Arsenal player.
And suddenly your transfer window looks a lot more complete, or on the verge of being complete. You asked me Rodrigo or Eze, the reality is we need both. But the reality also is Arsenal are not going to do that. Arsenal might not even do one of those.
I just can't believe that it's got to a situation where Eberechi Eze, the player that he is, the position in his career that he is, he's not a player for tomorrow. He's a player at the peak of his powers now, 27-year-old. Just won Crystal Palace their first ever piece of silverware, scoring at Wembley against Man City, like a true player at the peak of his powers now, ready to take Arsenal from contenders to serious potential winners. And he's gone to Tottenham. Like, what a moment for Tottenham.
I can cry and moan all day about our owners, right? And I've been right in doing that, and I can still continue, and I'd be right in continuing it. But the reality is we've spent money this summer, and some of it, in my opinion, has been misplaced, and I can't put that on the owners, right? That those misplaced funds, in my opinion, falls on the manager, falls on Berta, falls on what happens next. Are we going to get over the line and turn around at this window and say and laugh and say Madueke was the one after all. I highly doubt that.
The only way that it can work, there is a world where it could actually work, and that's Rodrigo. Suddenly, Rodrigo landing elevates Arsenal's entire front line and changing room. Like the dressing room. Suddenly you have serious winner. Multiple European Cup winner. By the way, the first super chat of the day has landed. It's from Frankie Hernandez. Good morning or good afternoon, Frankie. Morning, you say. From Atlanta. Wow, we've gone international Turkish. We've gone transatlantic. With Eze coming to the lane, how different does the table look for Tottenham? Massively different, I reckon. I think it's a needle mover for Tottenham. I really do.
It can be, yeah.
Sometimes players land at clubs, and the club changes when that player lands. Arsenal pre and post Henry.
Yeah.
When Eric Cantona went from Leeds to Man United were never the same club again. Eze to Tottenham, it feels massive to me.
Especially where they are and the season ahead of us. I think everyone puts Arsenal, Liverpool, City in some way the top 3, and then maybe Chelsea making up the top 4. Champions League is top 5 spots now. That 5th spot is up for grabs. Newcastle seem weaker than they was last season. Brighton haven't built on what they were last season. Aston Villa same. So that conversation for that last Champions League place, Tottenham are very much in there. From 17th to a conversation about potentially making Champions League football.
It shows you the importance of a manager, doesn't it? It just shows you the importance of getting the manager right.
Yeah.
Ever since they won that competition over in Bilbao, Daniel Levy, who I appreciate is not popular over at Tottenham, and I think that's totally legitimate. But getting Frank,
I think I should be a bit happier with Levy.
Do you?
They're a big 6 side without the trophy cabinets.
Yeah, but what they would want, he doesn't deliver. In their head, do you remember they were a club that, in their head, they're like a great cup team, and they talk about being the first team to have ever won a double and all that. And we know that's not. But the way they see themselves when they look in the mirror, Daniel Levy doesn't chime for what they want from their team.
I hear that, but he gave them Mourinho. They seemed alright with that at the time. Gave them Conte. They seemed alright with that at the time. Now this summer, I look at some of the Tottenham content creators, and with this Eze signing, Kudus before that, and potentially another winger coming in, they seem happy.
It's a great window. It's a great window for Tottenham, and I think that all of a sudden, they're looking like a serious club. A player like Palhinha lands.
Good loan.
Have you noticed the amount of links Tottenham have with Bayern? Dyer, Matthias Tell,
Kane.
Harry Kane, Palhinha now.
Yeah.
And obviously Harry Kane is coming to the point where I think Tottenham have a buyback. If he would have done what? It would have been 3 years if he does this season.
And there's a buyback after 3.
I think Tottenham get first refusal. And you think about the links between Tottenham and Bayern. I wonder if
they shouldn't go backwards. That's the thing. And I'm not saying bringing in a Kane type of striker is going backwards, but
you should just never go back.
They've got to start looking forward now and trying to find the next. I'm not saying the next Kane, because players are not produced thick and fast at that level. Yeah. But Thomas Frank's a good addition as manager. Kudus is a great addition as a player, and Eze. It's pretty
game changer. Absolute game changer. Let's have a chat now about what happened on the weekend. Arsenal, in my opinion, got a really positive result.
Definitely.
A brilliant victory. The kind of victory that actually does set you up for a league title push. It's the kind of going away and winning at Old Trafford. So I know you agree with me, because I know that we kind of see football through the same lens. But I don't understand this whole approach from modern football. That because you didn't go there and win 4-0, it was a bad day at the office for you. A precious 1-0 ugly victory on the opening day of the season against a Man United side that felt a bit resurgent. I just think that's worth its weight in gold.
We've only won against United a handful of times at that over the Premier League era at Old Trafford. Yeah. I think 3 of those actually fall under Arteta. So listen, game week 1, especially when it's United away at Old Trafford, regardless of the problems they've had over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it's been, 3 points is massive. Anytime, game week 1, game week 16, game week 27 at OT, you get 3 points. It's a great result.
Yeah,
you can push the performance to the side. I just think because this landed in and amongst the transfer window, in and amongst the start of a expectant season, I think a lot of us, including myself, look at the performance and still pick holes, because this is the time to pick the holes. Once 1st of September hits, it's it's what we have, and that's how we move.
I think you can pick the holes in the way that you have suggested there. You pick the holes whilst acknowledging
It's a great win.
that it's a great win. Yeah. What I found quite weird, and I appreciate that I've picked this feeling up generally from social media, and that says more about me being stupid than it does anyone. Like, don't pick your football sentiment up from social media, because you're gonna see things that don't make sense. But on social media, a lot of what I saw, and it kind of chimes with the way that I did my review of the game. In my review of the game, I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. Arsenal have got a massive result. They've gone away from home, they've played badly, and they've won. And they've won because of their defensive stability. They've won because they were resolute. And ultimately, could we see the victory and then go, it was a great victory, but this is what needs to happen? Absolutely. But you must acknowledge that it's a brilliant result.
I agree. I think the setup of United matters in the context of things as well. I think if United set up low mid-block and we grinded out a 1-0 win, I think it's looked at very differently to the way Man United did set up. Man United allowed us space in the midfield, allowed us space on the wings. We just didn't capitalise. We weren't ruthless enough. Our passing wasn't good enough.
No, you didn't play well.
And I just look back at it and think, didn't expect the 3-4, but the opportunities were there for us to have more chances. Now, if you look at our problems last year, we had a lot more of the ball, but we weren't creating chances. This time round, United had more of the ball, but again, we were failing to have that cutting edge in the final third. Hence why, great way to start the season, but in my opinion, not the greatest of ways to move into the season in terms of the squad, the options, the capabilities in attack. We needed to see something a bit. United lost the game, but they saw something from their attackers that they can hold on to a bit. So we both leave the game, both Arsenal fans and United fans, happy to a certain extent. We're happy with the 3 points, but I think we've got more business to do, and they're happy with the performance and the setup from Amorim.
Yeah. I think that's true. By the way, another super chat has just landed. Matt Shobe, thank you very much for your contribution. Matt has said, morning both. Morning. Liverpool fan, but he remembers watching Sanchez and Ozil balling out in the 16-17 season. Players that could just change a game by themselves, which I think Eze is, and something that Arsenal lack. I think that's completely true. And the mention of Alexis Sanchez there, I think is so accurate there from Matt, because it's just fair Turkish. Alexis Sanchez is the best player that Arsenal have had in the Emirates era. The best Arsenal player of all time, Emirates era.
Fabregas is up there.
Fabregas.
Yeah.
Is Ozil?
Ozil's up there, but I think Sanchez and Fabregas above Ozil for me.
Yeah.
And Van Persie's up there.
And Percy.
But yeah, that's the four. That's the four.
One of the best, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. No, without a doubt.
And when you think about what those players could do, and I mean, Matt puts it succinctly there. Change a game. Sanchez and Ozil do something spectacular. Do something magical. Bang on. That's the word.
That's
magical.
what we lack. Magic.
And you don't really have that, do you?
We lack it in abundance, and that's why I lean towards a Rodrigo, because I just feel like there's magic in him, more magic than, and he's done it at a higher level. He's won Champions League game for Real Madrid, en route to winning the Champions League. So that's why I'd favour him over Eze, but it should never be that. It should be both. So we lack magic, and a couple players coming in could help fix that. And the Man United game showed it, because we had opportunities. The early goal against the run of play, set piece, cool. But what do you do on top of that? Now Man United have to open up a bit. What do you have in the locker? And then the substitutions don't really make an effect either in terms of...
Yeah. Do you think he doesn't want the magic? Is there a world where Mikel Arteta, because of the way that he sets up, because of his rigidity, because of the system, do you think he likes players... Like, I use this word as a quality, but maybe you see it as a negative, or it could be... What Eze is unpredictable.
Yeah.
Is that a bad word? Like, I'm saying that in positive connotations, right? Unpredictable. Cole Palmer, unpredictable. That's wicked.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a world where Mikel Arteta sees the word unpredictable, but sees it through the lens of negativity?
You know what? I mean, if you go by the football we play and the tactics we use, the unpredictability of some of our players has lessened over the years. I think there was once upon a time we all labelled Martinelli unpredictable and used that as a positive. But he's very much predictable now, and I think that's down to him, but it's also down to our tactics and the way Arteta utilises him. Same for Odegaard. I think there was a time he was unpredictable. He took shots in his first year. He scored goals from outside the box in his first year. He took more risks with his passing in his first 2 years. But now he's very predictable, and if he gets the ball, he'll go out towards the right. He'll link up with Saka. He'll play that short passing game. I think we've become predictable because of tactics, but that's where now we lack that magic. You ask, is Arteta someone that wants that, he's played with Ronaldinho and JJ Okocha.
Yeah.
I mean, that's two of the probably top 5 magical players I've seen in
and Tim Cahill.
Add him to the list, why not? So, you know, he knows what magic can bring.
Yeah.
You know, JJ and Ronaldinho in particular.
Artists. Absolute artists.
I mean, on the football pitch, I struggle to name more magical players. Yeah. And Arteta's played with them guys. Arteta's played in an era where, you know, magic decided titles at times. So I just refuse to believe he's completely against it. I think it comes down more to the character of the players coming in. Has he got a problem managing the bolder characters, the bigger characters that come in with a bit of clout? They come in with a bit of, I'm the man, you know, make this work for me.
Ego.
Does he have a problem with that? Because everyone, well, not everyone he's got rid of over the years, but Guendouzi, there was a character issue out of the door. Ozil, didn't see eye to eye, out of the door. Oba, okay, didn't like it come the end, banished, out of the door. So it's any of the bold characters we've had with a young or a bit more experienced, he's slowly but surely moved on. So I think maybe there's a bigger problem there, that he's still a young manager, he's still learning. It's not things I want to be hearing, and I'm not using that as excuses. But the next step, in my opinion, was always get that ready-made star in now, you know, and make it work. And I just feel like he's hesitant to do that.
Yeah, well, 81% of the people currently watching, icons that are viewing this right now, thank you to all of you, by the way, for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Please do us a favour, give the stream a like if you would be kind enough. But 81% seem to think that this is going to be a situation that Arsenal regret in the future. Not signing Eberechi Eze is something that when we sit here, January, February, March, May, Arsenal will regret not getting hold of Eberechi Eze, because it was there for you. It was there. It was clearly there for you.
We tend to regret a lot more than not in transfer windows. You know, it won't be the first time. You could add it to a long list of regrets in the Emirates era. It's just part and parcel with the way we move. Hence why I am the way I am. In the Emirates era, we've only had one transfer window that led me to truly believe we're going to go and win this league, or can win this league, and that's the Rice window. And even then, I look back at Havertz and think, you know, what was you doing with that one? I regret that one. I think we regret that one when you look at the finances involved and the wages. You know, he's been productive, but not the best. So every window leaves us with regrets. There's never really a window where we look back and say, perfect, I'm happy with that.
The only way, though, and look, Kurian has asked here in the super chat, and he says, does Eze get straight in your 11? Like, he certainly gets in Chelsea's 11.
He'll start on the left for us, and I think he's a central player, but I think he starts on the left for us.
Well, he starts on the left for you, but if Martin Odegaard doesn't play to the level that is required, all of a sudden he's playing as a number 10 for you.
There's an option there.
Which will make Odegaard a better player, because Odegaard needs to keep his place in the team. That's how the tide rises, isn't it? Everybody's competing for their place.
That's how it's meant to be. At an elite level, you know, competition shouldn't be a frightener. Competition should be wanted, required at the highest level, because, you know, competition breeds progression. I even look at, and it's still very early days, but Bilbao, Havertz comes on, scores probably one of his better goals in an Arsenal shirt. He comes off the bench against United, doesn't do much on the attacking front, but you can see there's maybe a renewed bit of energy putting himself about. Why? Maybe it's Gyökeres coming in that's led to that. Maybe he's not as comfortable as he was a year ago. So competition should, you know, bring out the strengths and improve on the weaknesses of the players competing with each other.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting point here from Marco. This is very interesting, actually. Marco in the super chat says, I saw someone say that Arteta doesn't get that it's the players who challenge him who are the ones who will stand up on the pitch and be counted when the going gets tough. That's an interesting way of looking at it.
That's
the players that push back, the players that can be awkward, the players that maybe give you, bold, give you a headache. Yeah. They're also the same players that will give the opposition a headache.
And literally,
a load of yes men in the dressing room is not what you need, is it?
Probably worded it better than I did, but that's what I meant about the bold characters and the ready-made stars. They come with a certain level of, you know, I've been doing this, right?
Yeah. They give the manager, give the manager a headache. They arrive, like somebody like Rodrigo arrives, and Mikel Arteta has something to prove to Rodrigo. Rodrigo's got nothing to prove to anybody. He's got 2 European Cups to his name. He's got literally nothing. Scored an amazing goal against Atletico Madrid. You know, one of those goals where you're just like, mate, what are you doing? Drops his shoulder, bang, bang. You know, like, magic. All due respect, magic. Yeah.
That's what it comes down
to. And maybe Mikel Arteta doesn't want that kind of person wrapped around him, because those kind of people are the kind of people that are going to say standards not good enough. It's like Mick McCarthy didn't want Roy Keane around him because Roy Keane's going to Mick McCarthy. Are you the man? Don't worry about are we? Are you the right man?
Yeah. You don't see many clubs win the major honours, with everything hunky-dory, rosy, cozy. No. There's always characters in the best of dressing rooms that challenge, that fight. You might hear a story, but that story is going to lead to better performances. Training ground, bust up. Oh, why? Oh, challenging.
Did you hear? Mate, there's an amazing podcast going around at the moment. I saw a great clip, and it was David Bentley talking about... David Bentley won a double. Oh, no, David Bentley went Invincible.
Yeah.
David Bentley was, weirdly, you forget it, but David Bentley was part of the Invincibles. Mate, he talks about that Arsenal dressing room, and he talks about the fights that would happen daily in the six-a-side. Yeah. He said one of the worst fights that he ever saw, and Wenger would encourage it. Wenger didn't... Wenger's not seen as being an aggressive man, but he would encourage it. He said that Pascal Sigan and Kolo Touré, I'm talking literally going for it, and there was just a situation where that was almost encouraged.
Yeah,
it wasn't frowned upon. It would happen every day. He said the six-a-side games were taken so seriously in that Arsenal Invincible era that the players were fighting each other on a day-to-day basis.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah,
I'm not saying fight each other. What I'm saying is,
but it doesn't need to be all harmony, does it?
Yeah.
Standards.
And I think that's important for us this season.
Yeah.
I think the friendly stuff has got us this far. Now who's challenging each other? When there's a poor performance, even though we got the win against United, Arteta come out and said, listen, we won. It's rare we win there, but I go into the dressing room and they're not happy. That is a good sign.
Yeah.
Because, overall, they know that they could have put United to the sword a bit more, created more chances.
Yeah.
Those people now need to come from within, because we haven't signed that ready-made star, the one that maybe everyone looks at and says, you're going to guide us over the line. Yeah. As much as Gyökeres is a bagsman and he scored 100 in 2 seasons, he still comes in with quite a humble character.
Yeah.
He's not...
Well, he's got questions to answer, definitely.
Of course he does.
He's got questions to answer. In fact, before we talk about Gyökeres, can I just say there are 2,000 of you watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Would you do us a massive favour? Please click like on this stream. It massively helps us out. I have no idea why, but apparently it's really useful. So if you would be kind enough to click like and also click subscribe while you're here. Yeah. Turkish, let's talk about Gyökeres here, right? An uninspiring debut. We can't judge too much off your opening day, 60 minutes or whatever it was at Old Trafford, a resurgent Man United, a Man United that were unbeaten in pre-season, the Stretford end in expectation, they were buoyant. I understand that things take time, but Gyökeres landing is the kind of player that's landing not to take time. He's 27 years old. It doesn't have to happen on the debut, but he kind of has to hit the ground running in the first 5-6 games.
Yeah, I'd say 10 is a good metric to look back on and say, is he the man? It's still early, but in terms of this coming season, 10 games is a hell of a lot.
Yeah, well, it's a quarter of the way through the season, isn't it?
Yeah, and by then, especially when you're dealing with Man City and Liverpool, you drop enough points. There ain't no season to be looking forward to, even after 10 games. It's look, Gyökeres is a completely different type of profile to what Arteta's been getting over the past 2 years. So there's a learning curve for Gyökeres coming into this side, and there's a big learning curve for Arteta embedding him into the side. And I think regardless of it being Gyökeres or Šeško or Osimhen or whoever came in as striker this year, we had to make tactical changes to open up offensively. So I look at Gyökeres and I feel like service wasn't there, but then the one chance he did get, the one chance he was let free, let go, it ended up on a Lukaku vibe. You see it stuck under his foot, the Timberland boots, the social media go mad. Not great. Comes off at 60 minutes. I don't think he should have. I think that's, I think Arteta should have left him out.
Do you know what, Turkish, he was really having a mare. He was having a mare. And do you know, I honestly thought that Kai Havertz, and you and I think that our opinions on Kai Havertz, they generally chime. I don't think he's good enough to win Arsenal a league title. I don't think he's good enough centre forward to win Arsenal a league title. But when you brought Havertz on and Gyökeres went off, I thought that settled the game. I thought he came on and he was so clever taking the ball to the corner flag when he had to.
Kicks, yeah.
That free kick against Ugarte was such a moment.
Yeah.
Such a moment, because you could see, and I'm watching the game. I'm watching it on the telly. I'm watching it in slow motion. He takes a touch and he literally goes like that with his eyes, and he just waits for Ugarte.
He knows what he's doing.
Knows exactly, so professional.
And he's good at that. You know,
Clever.
as much as we are
Yeah.
critiques of Kai Havertz.
And do you know what? Kyle McIver in the super chat. Kyle, thank you for your super chat. He completely agrees with everything we're saying here. You need that aggression in any change room because it's the only way that you get anywhere. There's a question from Kyle that basically says that Odegaard doesn't have that captain. Did you see the comments about Tony Adams?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I agree with what Tony Adams sees as the best mould for captain. So you could say I agree with that. Timing probably wasn't great, but at the end of the day, you know, he was at some sort of event and he was asked questions, and regardless of timing, you're going to answer those questions.
Yeah.
That's an Arsenal legend.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anyone in the rest of my life will do more for Arsenal than a Tony Adams did.
Why are you saying that? Have Arsenal fans been hostile to Adams?
Social media, yeah.
Have they?
Don't you remember they've done it to Henry? They've done it to
crazy,
Adams now, and Henry and Adams. I mean, we're talking if we're talking Arsenal legends, and if we're talking part of the reason why Arsenal are still so big with the fan base we have worldwide. Adams is a bigger part.
Henry
of that
Adams,
than
right?
Henry, yeah,
they're like. Do you know what I see as Arsenal? Henry Adams, right?
He's got a statue outside the stadium. He can say what he wants, how he wants, when he wants. Right? We can say the timing ain't great. We can say he's a bit sour, but come on, that's an Arsenal legend. That captained the side for 3 decades, different Premier League title in the 80s, a Premier League in the 90s, a Premier League in the 2000s. Yeah. You know, he's up there with the very best. He can say what he wants. And
listen to him when he speaks as well. He knows the club.
You don't have to. And even if you disagree, fine. You know, but it doesn't have to ever get nasty, and it doesn't have to ever get to a point where, you know, we are diminishing a Tony Adams because we want to support what we got. Yeah, it's fair game. You know, legends do what they do, and that enables them to talk of the club. I love ex-players coming out and being honest. Yeah, you know, Perez came out, you know, a couple of years ago and said he'd prefer Doku over Saka. I'm thinking, is he mad? But that's his opinion. It's mad, but that's his opinion. I'm not gonna slander Perez because that's what he thinks. That's his opinion. I'll keep it moving.
Yeah. You're allowed to disagree with people as well. They can still hold him in incredibly high regard.
And this ain't just people. This is legends of the team you support. Part of the reason you support them. So Tony, well within his rights to mention it, and what he mentioned, like for like. What I think the greatest captains in the Premier League for me. And I think this is not debatable, right? The 3 greatest captains, you can put them in any order you want. That's you know, subjective. Tony Adams, Roy Keane, John Terry. That's the 3 greatest captains. What do they all have? They all have that nastiness about them. They all have that aggression. How vocal they all were. How they all led by example on the pitch. Whether that's putting their face on the line, their neck on the line. Whether that's taking a card. Whether that's protecting the players around them. For me, that is the mold of a great captain. Now, obviously, football's changed and captaincy doesn't mean as much as it used to. But I think when shit really hits the fan come the end of the season, especially latter stages of the Champions League, I think that's when that type of a captain really stands tallest, and that's where he leads the most. And I agree, Odegaard
can Martin Odegaard become that man?
I don't think it's in his character to be doing that, if I'm honest with you. Not saying his leadership hasn't helped us along the way, because I you know, when he got made captain, I was like, oof. The first year played out, we challenged for a league title. He was, you know, key to all of it. I said, not a bad choice. You know, he's leading by example in a very different way to how my mold of captain would lead. But I think we've got to a point now where both his productivity and impact on the starting 11 has dropped, and also the need for a more reliable captain is necessary, in my opinion. I'll use the word reliable because in times of need, like that super chat said, sometimes you want your captain to put in, it might be a challenge that you want him to put in to you know, set the foundation that I am the man, I'm the leader, you're going to follow me into this battle, you're going to follow me into this last 20 minutes, we need a goal, I'm going to set the base. I don't think Odegaard has that. And I think he might be. Adams also mentioned, and this goes you know, under the radar a lot, he said he thinks Rice being the captain will also unlock a bit more of Odegaard. Maybe the captaincy
frees him up a bit. Stage
is a bit.
It can weigh heavy. The captain's armband, particularly captain's armband at Arsenal. It's like it's the captain's armband at Arsenal is so representative of icons. Like when you think of the. Also, do you remember it weighed very heavy on Granit Xhaka at that time? Remember when he launched it?
Yeah.
There's an interesting one here, Turkish, which I think is directly about something that you've just said. It's in from Jason Martin into the super chat. And he contests effectively what Tony Adams said about Martin Odegaard, and he says this: Martin Odegaard isn't needed to be aggressive. Arsenal have tons of that in the squad already. Some of our fans can be so hyperbolic. We should be fully behind the club and chuffed for the 3 points at Old Trafford. So many games you've been outplayed at Old Trafford and lost. Yeah, I mean, do you think that... So, effectively, Tony Adams said that the way that Odegaard captains the club, you won't win. Jason is saying that it doesn't matter how Odegaard captains the club because the aggression is there throughout the spine of the team. What do you think?
I think Adams went a bit fast saying you won't win considering we came a game off winning the league title.
And beat Real Madrid home and away.
Was captain. But I argue Jason's point about it doesn't need to be aggressive. And I bring in maybe PSG home and away. You know, I feel like an aggressive mode of captain marks a bit more authority in that game. When PSG were playing around us, especially that first leg where they shocked us at the Emirates and they were bopping it around.
The Dembele goal,
Odegaard went missing across those two legs. You know, he wasn't doing what the Odegaard of 22-23 in terms of on the ball would be doing. So what are you doing off the ball? You work hard, but it's, in my opinion, generally I think Jason's comment is correct. He doesn't need to be aggressive, but in those moments, PSG, maybe Man United FA Cup, maybe Man City at the end of the 22-23 season where shit's hitting the fan, I feel like a more aggressive mode of captain can help change things. It might fall the same way. But I just feel like in those moments, that's when the need becomes more. It's easy to say it now, it's the start of the season, but when it comes down to it, when it comes down to You're 1-0 down at Stamford Bridge with 10 minutes to go, and Caicedo's bullying you. Who's gonna answer? Who's gonna lead the huddle? Who's gonna lead the team?
It's interesting, isn't it? It's a very interesting point. There's another point here in the super chat from Matt Shobe regarding Mikel Arteta, and he agrees with what you were saying, or what we were potentially discussing at least, about Mikel Arteta not liking the big characters. He makes a comparison towards Arne Slot. He says when Slot went into Liverpool, he said to Salah said to him that he's going to win you the league if you let me play the way I want to. He then says that Arteta would have dropped somebody to the reserves for saying that he should be given the freedom to play as he wants. Do you think that there is an argument that Mikel Arteta is too obsessed with system? Too obsessed with...
I think football's too obsessed with systems now, and I think that's a debate for another day on Pep Guardiola's impact on football in general. In terms of the super chat and not liking big characters, Salah for example, I think Arteta likes being the man, and I think he likes that all roads lead back to him, in a sense where things are going right, he gets the highest praise amongst the whole Arsenal squad. When things are going bad, he is also looked at as are you going to fix this? Are you the problem for this? And I think he likes that position. When it's going good, that's all right. When it's going bad, that's when the pressure comes in. And, Slot, for example, Slot wasn't the main man last year for Liverpool. Salah was. Van Dijk was. Even you could argue Gravenberch, even though Slot put him in that position. There was players on that pitch that were more accountable than anyone at Liverpool, because Slot's a new manager. These players, some of them have been there, done that. Some of them have been trusted with a new position. Whereas with Arsenal, the main man is always Mikel. And people are going to say Saka, but I still feel Saka falls under Mikel. I think he is the top of the pyramid, and everything else falls underneath.
He needs. Do you know what? From the outside looking in here, you can kind of see what Arsenal need. They need somebody to perhaps take these situations, and that is why. Look, missing out on Eberechi Eze going to Tottenham. I mean, there's a super chat that says it's from Kurian. And it says Eze to Arsenal isn't the story. The storyline is Eze going to the rival of a club who let him go as a kid and prove why they were wrong.
That's the story I said about coming back to Arsenal. You told that,
didn't you? Yeah.
Now the story is, you didn't want me, I'm gonna go there and let me show out. So they've got that mentality with him as well. The
only way it makes sense though, and I feel like Arsenal could address an awful lot of problems, because this would address both the issue that we're discussing here about what's going on with Arsenal, what's going on with the personality of the team, and also missing out on a player like Eze. Just go and sign Rodrigo. In Rodrigo, you have the answer to why Arsenal didn't sign Eze. The answer, why didn't Arsenal sign Eberechi Eze? Because we went and signed a 2-time European Cup winner. That's why. And also, we don't have enough personality on the pitch. We don't have enough. Suddenly you sign a Galactico. Arsenal are going to... Do you know, now we've discussed it like this, Turkish, it suddenly dawned on me. Arsenal are going to sign Rodrigo, because if they do not sign Rodrigo, nothing makes sense.
I mean, did anything make sense when we loaned in Sterling deadline day last year? Did anything make sense when Czech was our only signing outfield? Did anything make sense when we bought Kim Kallstrom with a fractured spine or whatever it was in January? Did that make sense?
Yeah, that was wild.
Did it make sense to go to Lille and sign Gervinho and not entertain Hazard? Arsenal make no sense more often than not in the transfer windows. Hence why I have to go with the nonsense rather than the ideal.
Mate, you just made so many good... that was brilliant.
I could do more.
Why did we go to Lille and sign Gervinho and ignore Hazard? That's such a great...
I could do more.
Such a great question.
We gave the 14 from Henry to Walcott at 16. We gave the 10 from Bergkamp to Gallas. I mean, there's so many facets of this club that make no sense that I got to lean more into what makes no sense, and we'll probably go with that one.
I'm going to nick that. I'm telling you the
It's
truth.
on your channel, mate.
I'm going to nick it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to repurpose that as my own work. I'm going to...
Go ahead, man.
That's amazing. Why did we go to Lille and sign Gervinho and totally ignore Eden Hazard? What a great question.
I've got the list
But you simply must. You simply must now, because everything that we've said and the super chat have been so like helpful in like me rationalising this. Rodrigo sort of ticks all the boxes.
I agree.
Why didn't you sign Eze? We didn't sign Eze because we signed Rodrigo.
Yeah, it makes sense of it.
Yeah, it makes sense of it. Like, there isn't enough personality in the team. We're talking about the captaincy. We're talking about the style of captaincy. Yeah. There isn't enough pushback to Arteta. Okay, we go and sign Rodrigo.
And let's add, you talk of character in the side. I think we're on the verge of losing one of our characters and one of our best squad players. Trossard's apparently, potentially the one on the way out. Now, off the back of that, you'd further expect a Rodrigo to come in if you lose a Trossard on top of letting Eze go to Tottenham. But Trossard's a great squad player. He's proven to be a great squad player over the years. So if Arsenal miss out on Eze or let Eze go, whichever one it was, to Tottenham, then get rid of Trossard, and still, that makes no sense, right? Probably what we'll do. Because if it makes no sense, that's probably
wild.
What we're gonna
This
do.
is interesting here as well in the super chat from William Lucer. William, this is very interesting. Turkish, over to you, right?
Yeah.
Arteta's ability ID is the biggest issue. Dowman is not a 1v1 winger. He's a ball-carrying 10. Miles Lewis-Skelly is one of the top midfielders of his age group around the world. Now he's a left-back. Havertz, Madueke, bought for the wrong reasons in the wrong positions. This is interesting from William Lucer here because we trying to redefine Kai Havertz as a midfielder. Like, you and I have been very complimentary about Mikel Arteta where necessary.
Yeah.
We said that it was almost inspired to replace Aaron Ramsdale before he had even gone wrong.
Yeah.
You solve a problem before the problem exists. Bringing in David Raya was inspired. But on the other side of that coin, the Kai Havertz as a central midfielder, Kai Havertz replacing Granit Xhaka was nuts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of examples here. Lewis Skelly, one of the top midfielders of his age group, now he's a left back. Madueke brought in to play what, left wing?
Well, it looks like it. And again, it's a handful of games he's played left wing in his career.
Yeah.
I think we've gone from one extreme to the other. The first extreme being Wenger towards the end. I think it was too simple in terms of his tactical setup. Whether we're playing Barcelona in the Champions League or we're playing Barnsley in the FA Cup, he's set up the same way. It's attack, you transition quick, and that is the base of our football. Now I think we've come all the way. We're in a better place, but all the way to the other side of things where it's overcomplicated now. And I think this summer for me was all about getting the specialists in positions. That's why I like the Gyökeres signing, because that's not a guy that can play left wing.
Yeah. You're not going to redefine him. Yeah,
he is a striker. You bring in a striker in. That's why when we talk about Eze, I mention centrally more than I mention left wing, because in my opinion, he's a 10, an 8, and then a left winger next. So really, again, we're trying to do, a round hole square pegs and all of that. That's why for me, Rodrigo, out and out left winger, but he also suits Arteta because he's played right wing for the last few years, and he can play 10. He's played in a 2 up top. So again, all roads lead to Rodrigo. Aside from maybe the bold character side of him, it's a perfect player for Arteta. Will he do it? I don't know. This modern day system stuff for me came in with Mikel. Wenger wasn't a modern day manager. Emery isn't a modern day manager in terms of the way he expects his system to work. So that all came in with Arteta, Zinchenko coming in at left back. Oh shit, the left back doesn't have to overlap anymore, and he comes in and adds the midfield. And I appreciated that over the years. But I feel like where we're at now, 3 second place finishes on top of a season where we've regressed.
Yeah.
I think specialists would have been ideal.
And Magic, which brings us back to Eze.
Yeah.
And Magic, specialists,
Yeah.
and then that unpredictable mercurial quality. How's Eberechi Eze gone to Tottenham? It's such a good signing for. It's a painful thing to say, but this is like a defining day for Tottenham Hotspur potentially.
Very good signing.
27 years old, man, ready
Very
to
good
go.
signing.
Ready to go.
Bit of a chip on his shoulder the way we let him go, and
Point
then
to
maybe
prove.
waiting for us, and we didn't come back in for him. Added to that, you know, a man can only wait so much if that has been the case, and why it's dilly-dallied for so long. But you're right, it's not a good look, especially for an Arsenal fan, and in turn especially for a Chelsea fan. I think we'd both welcome Eze with open arms. Not that you need him as much as we do, but quality player, deserved the next step up, and here he is walking to White Hart Lane.
I would love him. Actually, I mean, it's not the way that we did. Like, we weren't linked. It was never going to work for us. But I truly believe that unless Arsenal have a master plan, which is possible, if Arsenal have a master plan and they weren't in for Eze for a reason, I'm talking about a quantifiable reason, Rodrigo reason. And it does feel like it can only really be a Rodrigo reason.
Look how loosely our plans are based off of when City could all of a sudden sell Savio to Tottenham, and then they need a Rodrigo. So what do we think then? That Rodrigo's gonna wait around and wait for us like Eze might have? No, he doesn't give a shit about Arsenal at this moment in time. Yeah.
Do you know what, Turkish? Just before we wrap, I've got a massive question for you to answer. Huge. And again, just before we wrap, I want to say to everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Just an impromptu midday live. So I really do appreciate you finding the time. Do us a favour before you go, please click subscribe. But Turkish, this is a huge question. You ready? Are you more or less confident about your season now or last week? So since last week, you've had a brilliant win, but you didn't play well. You've seen Gyökeres now in an Arsenal shirt, scoring goals with a cannon on his chest and all that. But you've also seen Eberechi Eze now basically go in a different direction. Everything that you now have seen over the past, say, 7 days, are you happier with Arsenal and their position, or are you more worried about Arsenal and their position?
Less confident, more worried. Reasons you said.
That's the spirit.
I mean, I'm pessimistic at the best of times.
Mate, I can see why.
Because you've got to also add in Liverpool and Man City's business and the way they started the season. Liverpool played poorly, still scored 4 goals. Man City wiped the floor with Wolves away from home, and Reinders, their new signing, probably pulled out one of the best midfield performances I've seen for a little while from an 8.
Wicked run.
And then Shirky comes on and a couple back heels and a goal bottom corner.
Wallop.
So that adds to the worry and the performance against United. And to be honest with you, bro, I thought we'd get Eze. I wanted Rodrigo. I want Rodrigo, but I thought, the Arsenal way
Eze was destined for Arsenal, man.
So now it's not happening.
Eze was destined for, this is a it was so obvious that Eze's pathway was going to end up at the Emirates.
Should have been.
Mental. Absolutely mental. I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Before you go, please click subscribe and make sure that you click the link in the description below. You will find a link to our Turkish's Arsenal channel. Fantastic work going on over there. All your Arsenal needs catered for. Brilliant channel. Make sure that you go and subscribe to him. Turkish and Honor, mate. Thanks for finding the time.
No worries, brother. Hit the like button as well. 1,000 likes.
Always. It helps, man. It helps. I don't know why, but apparently it helps. Ta-da.